Imagine a world before iPhones and Androids, a time when smartphones were just a glimmer in the eyes of tech enthusiasts. In that world, there was BlackBerry, a company that started out as a wireless data transmission company in Canada in 1984 by Mike Lazaridis and Douglas Freakin, two engineering students at the University of Waterloo. But it wasn't until 1999 that BlackBerry released its first device that combined email, phone, and pager functionality. The BlackBerry quickly became a status symbol among business professionals and government agencies. But just like that, BlackBerry's reign at the top was over. In this video, we'll take a closer look at how BlackBerry rose to fame and then fell from grace in the fast-paced world of technology. When BlackBerry burst onto the scene, it was an instant game-changer. The ability to check email, make calls, and send messages all from one device was a dream come true for business professionals and government agencies. And with BlackBerry's reputation for security and reliability, it was a no-brainer for these organizations to adopt the new technology. By the mid-2000s, BlackBerry had become the undisputed king of the smartphone market, holding a 50% share of the US market and a 20% share of the global market. And with the introduction of BlackBerry Messenger, BBM, users could send encrypted messages to each other with ease. It was like having your own private chat room, and people loved it. But BlackBerry wasn't just for suits and briefcases. Consumers quickly took notice of the sleek design, user-friendly interface, and most importantly, the physical keyboard. BlackBerry devices became status symbols, with users proudly flaunting their beds and showing off their typing skills. The QWERTY keyboard, a feature that was once the hallmark of BlackBerry devices and a defining characteristic of the brand. The physical keyboard was the centerpiece of BlackBerry's early success and played a significant role in its popularity among business professionals and consumers. The QWERTY keyboard was a stroke of genius. It made typing on a smartphone feel more like typing on a computer, which was a game changer for those who valued productivity and efficiency. The keyboard allowed users to type out long emails and messages with ease, making it an essential tool for professionals on the go. But the keyboard wasn't just for work. It was also a major selling point for consumers who appreciated the tactile feedback and the feeling of typing on real keys. The physical keyboard became a symbol of status and a way for users to show off their BlackBerry devices with pride. But as the smartphone market evolved, so did consumer preferences. Touchscreen devices became the new norm, and the physical keyboard began to lose its appeal. However, challenges began to mount for the once dominant smartphone maker. Competition from other manufacturers like Nokia, Samsung, and Motorola began to heat up. But it was a small company out of Cupertino that would ultimately bring BlackBerry to its knees. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Apple's iPhone. In 2007, Apple revolutionized the smartphone industry with the introduction of the first iPhone. The device was a game changer, offering a touchscreen interface, a sleek design, and a new way of thinking about mobile devices. BlackBerry, on the other hand, was slow to adapt to the changing smartphone landscape. While the company had dominated the market for years, it failed to innovate in the face of growing competition. BlackBerry's focus on the physical keyboard and its insistence on sticking with its tried and true formula left it vulnerable to the disruptive forces of Apple's iPhone. The iPhone quickly gained popularity, thanks in part to its sleek design and user-friendly interface. The device appealed to both business professionals and consumers, offering a new way of staying connected on the go. The iPhone also introduced a new way of thinking about mobile apps, with the App Store becoming a major selling point for the device. BlackBerry, on the other hand, struggled to keep up with Apple's innovation. The company's devices began to look outdated in comparison to the sleek, touchscreen designs of the iPhone. BlackBerry's App World, which was launched in 2009, was seen as a poor imitation of Apple's App Store and failed to gain much traction. In addition to its lack of innovation, BlackBerry also struggled with internal issues. The company's management was slow to respond to the changing market, and there was a lack of cohesion between different departments. BlackBerry's marketing efforts were also lackluster, failing to generate the same level of excitement and buzz as Apple's iPhone. Despite attempts to turn things around, including the launch of new devices and services, BlackBerry was unable to regain its footing in the smartphone market. The company ultimately shifted its focus to enterprise software and cybersecurity, leaving its days as a major player in the smartphone market behind. Once the dominant player in the smartphone market, BlackBerry's fall from grace is a story of missed opportunities, missteps, and tragic consequences. One of BlackBerry's biggest missteps was the delay in releasing its BlackBerry 10 operating system. The company had been working on the new operating system for years, and it was supposed to be a game changer with a new interface, better performance, and more advanced features. However, the release was delayed multiple times, and by the time it finally hit the market, it was too late. The delay allowed competitors like Apple and Samsung to gain a foothold in the market and capture market share that BlackBerry was unable to regain. Another misstep was the company's failure to keep up with the demand for touchscreens and apps. BlackBerry was slow to adopt touchscreen technology, sticking to its physical keyboard for far too long. Meanwhile, competitors like Apple and Samsung were creating devices with large touchscreens and a vast library of apps, which quickly became the new standard for smartphones. BlackBerry eventually released touchscreen devices, but they were too little, too late. BlackBerry's failure to innovate was also a significant factor in its decline. The company was slow to introduce new features and technologies, and it failed to keep up with the rapid pace of change in the smartphone market. BlackBerry's devices were seen as outdated and unexciting compared to the sleek, feature-rich smartphones produced by its competitors. But perhaps the most tragic misstep of all was BlackBerry's failure to adapt to the changing needs and preferences of its users. BlackBerry was once the go-to device for business professionals and government agencies, but as the market shifted towards consumer devices, BlackBerry failed to adjust its strategy. The company continued to focus on the enterprise market, even as consumers were clamoring for devices with more entertainment and social features. BlackBerry's decline was rapid and devastating. The company's market share plummeted, and its once loyal customers jumped ship to other brands. BlackBerry was forced to lay off thousands of employees and close several of its manufacturing facilities. The company's stock price plummeted, and it became a cautionary tale of what can happen to even the most dominant player in a rapidly changing market. One of the hidden reasons behind BlackBerry's fall from grace was its over-reliance on mobile carriers to distribute its devices. Unlike Apple, who sold its iPhones directly to consumers, BlackBerry was heavily dependent on partnerships with carriers to reach its audience. This resulted in a limitation of the company's ability to control the user experience, and in some cases, it became vulnerable to the whims of carriers who prioritized their own devices over BlackBerry's. What many people don't know is that BlackBerry's carrier partnerships led to one of the company's biggest blunders, the Z10 launch. BlackBerry Z10 was a brand new device with a lot of potential, but the company made a critical mistake by launching it exclusively with Verizon Wireless. This decision was based on the belief that Verizon was the most significant carrier in the US, and it would help ensure the Z10's success. However, this plan backfired. Verizon didn't put enough marketing behind the Z10, and as a result, the device didn't generate the sales BlackBerry had hoped for. This left BlackBerry with a massive inventory of unsold Z10s, leading to a huge write-down that cost the company over $1 billion. Moreover, BlackBerry's strategic focus on the corporate market was both a strength and a weakness. On the one hand, it allowed the company to become the undisputed leader in the business world. But on the other hand, it left the consumer market wide open for competitors to enter and take over. While BlackBerry was wildly popular among business professionals and government agencies, it failed to capture the attention of the wider consumer market. It allowed the company to become the undisputed leader in the business world. But on the other hand, it left the consumer market wide open for competitors to enter and take over. In the end, BlackBerry's downfall was a tragic tale of a once great company that failed to adapt to the changing times. Despite its early success and dominance in the smartphone market, BlackBerry was unable to keep up with the rapid pace of change and the demands of its users. The company's missteps, missed opportunities, and tragic consequences serve as a reminder that even the most successful companies can fall if they are not willing to innovate and adapt. The fall of BlackBerry was no small event. It had a major impact on the company's employees, shareholders, and customers. This once dominant smartphone manufacturer was left reeling as it struggled to keep up with technological change and shifting consumer preferences. So, what happened next? For employees, the decline of BlackBerry meant more than just a little uncertainty. It meant layoffs and job losses. The company was forced to make some tough decisions as it tried to cut costs and stay afloat, leading to a significant number of talented and dedicated employees being forced to seek employment elsewhere. But for those who remained, there was a new focus on software and services, leading to exciting new opportunities and challenges. For shareholders, the fall of BlackBerry was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. As the company's market share dwindled, so too did the value of its stock. Once valued at over $140 per share, the price had plummeted to less than $10 per share by 2013. It was a gut-wrenching loss for investors who had once believed in BlackBerry's potential for growth and profitability. For customers, the decline of BlackBerry meant being left in the dark. The company stopped releasing new devices and fell behind on software updates, leaving loyal customers with outdated devices and limited support. This left many feeling frustrated and left out, prompting them to switch to other smartphone brands and leaving BlackBerry with a shrinking customer base. But, like the proverbial phoenix rising from the ashes, BlackBerry shifted its focus to software and services. It began developing enterprise software solutions for businesses and government agencies, leveraging its expertise in security and data management. BlackBerry also made several strategic acquisitions to expand its software offerings, including Good Technology and Silence. And let's not forget about the company's QNX operating system. This innovative technology is now used in a wide range of industries, including automotive and healthcare, and has become a key part of BlackBerry's software portfolio. Plus, with a renewed focus on security and privacy, BlackBerry has managed to differentiate itself from competitors and win new business. As competition heated up, BlackBerry's leadership struggled to make strategic decisions and failed to innovate in the face of changing market trends. While Apple and Android were releasing new devices and features at a rapid pace, BlackBerry was stuck in the past, unable to keep up with the fast-moving technology landscape. Adding to BlackBerry's woes was the tarnishing of its reputation for security. The company had long been known for its highly secure devices, but several high-profile security breaches shook consumer confidence in the brand. In 2011, the company's network was breached, compromising the personal information of millions of customers. These factors all contributed to a rapid decline in BlackBerry's market share. In 2009, BlackBerry held nearly 50% of the global smartphone market. By 2016, that number had fallen to less than 1%. BlackBerry's revenue also declined. dropping from $19 billion in 2011 to just $1.3 billion in 2020. The company's once dominant position had been eroded by its inability to adapt to changing market trends, and its reputation for security had been severely damaged. In response to these challenges, BlackBerry attempted to pivot towards software and services, focusing on its expertise in security and data management. The company has had some success in this area, with its QNX operating system being used in a wide range of industries and its enterprise software solutions gaining traction in the business world. However, the company's days as a major player in the smartphone market are behind it. Today, BlackBerry has reinvented itself as a leading enterprise software and cybersecurity company. While it may no longer be a household name in the smartphone market, BlackBerry has carved out a niche for itself in industries such as healthcare, finance, and automotive, where its expertise in security and data management is highly valued. BlackBerry's QNX operating system is used in over 175 million vehicles worldwide, and the company's cybersecurity solutions are trusted by governments and businesses around the world. BlackBerry has also continued to innovate with new products and services, such as its Spark platform, which integrates security and data management across all endpoints in an organization. Despite its tumultuous history, BlackBerry has emerged as a resilient and adaptable company. Its ability to pivot from hardware to software and services, combined with its reputation for security and privacy, has positioned it well for continued success in a rapidly changing technology landscape. In short, BlackBerry may no longer be the smartphone giant it once was, but it has found new ways to thrive and innovate in the tech industry, proving that even in the face of significant challenges, it is possible to bounce back and emerge stronger than ever before. The rise and fall of BlackBerry is a cautionary tale for any company that becomes complacent and fails to innovate in the face of rapidly changing market trends. It's a story that highlights the importance of being responsive, adaptable, and willing to take risks in order to stay relevant and competitive. The key lessons to be learned from BlackBerry's decline are the critical role of innovation, adaptability, and responsiveness to changes in the market. Companies must constantly seek out new and innovative ways to meet the needs of their customers and stay ahead of the competition. They must be able to pivot quickly and effectively in response to changes in the market and stay attuned to emerging trends. Failure to do so can quickly lead to irrelevance, as seen with BlackBerry's decline. Being agile, flexible, and willing to make strategic decisions is crucial for companies to stay ahead of the curve. To conclude, companies must be willing to take risks, try new things, and be open to change if they want to stay relevant and competitive. By learning from BlackBerry's mistakes, we can all strive to build stronger, more resilient companies that are better equipped to succeed in the years ahead.